When life gives you lemons, what do? Well, nothing, because life didn't give you lemons. We created them ourselves. Lemons are a man-made fruit created thousands of years ago by crossing two others, the citron and the bitter orange. And their story isn't unique. Most of the fruits and vegetables we eat today aren't products of untouched nature. They are a result of thousands of years of human selection, hybridization, and cultivation. Early farmers didn't have genetics or microscopes to help them out, but they understood something fundamental. If you saved seeds from the best tasting or hardiest plants, the next generation tended to inherit those qualities. Over time, that simple insight reshaped entire species. While some modern produce still resembles its wild ancestors, much of what fills our grocery stores is the outcome of careful human intervention. Let's look at how people across centuries and continents transformed the natural planet into the cultivated one we live in today. Let's start with the aforementioned lemon. Like I said before, lemons are a hybrid species created by crossing citrons and bitter oranges. This combination likely happened in South or Southeast Asia a few thousand years ago. The citron contributed its thick rind and fragrance, while the bitter orange added acidity and juiciness. From there, lemons spread westward along trade routes, reaching the Mediterranean through Arab traders through around the 10th century. In medieval Europe, lemons were a rare and valuable sight, often reserved for the wealthy. They appeared in style life paintings and banquet tables more as a symbol of refinement than as food. It's worth noting that this wasn't unusual. Many fruits started as status symbols before they became everyday items. For example, in 17th century Europe, pineapples were so rare that people would rent them as centerpieces for their parties. Lemons occupied a similar role for a time. They were exotic, fragrant, and expensive. By the 18th century, lemons became more accessible, especially as their health benefits became understood. Sailors used them to prevent scurvy, a major problem during long voyages. This simple fruit, a product of human hybridization, helped transform global exploration and navigation. Up next is the Brassica family. Few plants demonstrate human influence better than Brassica oleracea, also known as wild mustard. From this one plant, humans created a wide range of vegetables. Kale, selected for large edible leaves. Cabbage, for tightly packed heads. Broccoli and cauliflower, for their immature flower clusters. And Brussels sprouts, for small buds along the stem. This selective breeding began in the Mediterranean region over 2,000 years ago. Farmers discovered that by repeatedly choosing plants with slightly larger leaves or denser buds, they could enhance specific traits across generations. What's remarkable is that all of these vegetables still share the same species name, Brassica oleracea. Genetically, they are nearly identical. Their differences come down to the humans emphasize particular growth patterns. It's an early example of directed evolution achieved entirely through observation and patience. Long before modern science explained how inheritance worked, this single plant family is a reminder that agriculture was humanity's first major experiment in applied biology, one that continues to this day. Bananas. Wild bananas are nothing like the ones we eat today. They're small, starchy, and full of seeds. Modern edible bananas originated as a hybrid between two wild species, Musa cumanata and Musa baumannii. These hybrids are sterile, meaning they can't reproduce through seeds. Instead, all commercial bananas are clones propagated through cuttings or sugars from existing plants. The variety most people eat today is the Cavendish banana, which replaced the earlier Gros Michel type after a fungal disease nearly wiped out the global banana production in the 1950s. Because all Cavendish bananas are genetically identical, they are highly vulnerable to similar diseases today. This problem, a lack of genetic diversity, is one of the key challenges in modern agriculture. The Irish potato famine in the 1840s, for instance, occurred for the same reason. A genetically uniform crop was devastated by a single pathogen. The banana's predicament is a living example of why agricultural biodiversity matters. Carrots. The wild ancestor of the modern carrot, Daucus carota, produced thin, fibrous white and purple roots. Through centuries of selection, farmers bred carrots to be larger and sweeter. By the 16th century, cultivated carrots were being grown across Europe. The now familiar orange-colored carrot emerged in the Netherlands during the 17th century, possibly as a tribute to the ruling house of Orange-Nassau, though the link is partly symbolic and partly myth. Carrots are packed full of carotene. These pigments are precursors to vitamin A and are an essential nutrient for eyesight and immune function, making carrots one of the earliest examples of food unintentionally bred for both appearance and nutrition. Watermelons. The earliest evidence of watermelon domestication comes from Africa, where the melons were likely grown for the ability to store water rather than for their sweetness. These early fruits were pale, sometimes yellow or greenish on the inside, and full of hard seeds. Over many generations, farmers selected plants with redder flesh, fewer seeds, and higher sugar content. By the 18th century, paintings and travelers' accounts describe watermelons much like those we recognize today. Historical paintings can be surprisingly useful for understanding plant domestication. A 17th century painting by Giovanni Stanchi, for instance, shows a watermelon with a pale, segmented interior. This is evidence of how different early varieties looked before modern breeding. Corn. Modern corn, or maize, evolved from a small grass known as teosinte. Native to southern Mexico, teosinte bears little resemblance to corn. It has small, hard kernels enclosed in tough shells. About 9,000 years ago, indigenous peoples in Mesoamerica began cultivating teosinte, saving seeds from the plants with larger, softer kernels. Over thousands of years, this process transformed a wild grass into one of the planet's most productive crops. The domestication of maize was a technological revolution. It supported the rise of advanced civilizations such as the Mayan and the Aztecs. Today, corn remains one of the most widely grown crops, not just for the food, but for the livestock feed, biofuels, and countless industrial uses. Remarkably, corn is now so dependent on human cultivation that it can't effectively reproduce without our help. It's a plant that quite literally has evolved alongside us. Naturally occurring produce. Not all of our produce is the result of hybridization. Some fruits still stay true to their natural state. Blackberries, blueberries, and cranberries have changed relatively little. Most of their domestication involved improving size and yield rather than altering structure or flavor. Wild apples, still found in Kazakhstan, are small and tart, but genetically linked to modern varieties. Pineapples, native to South America, evolved naturally, though selective breeding made them larger and sweeter over time. Interestingly, the modern apple, though derived from wild ancestors, has become a symbol of domestication itself. Each apple seed produces a genetically unique tree, meaning consistent varieties like Fuji or Gala only exist because they're cloned through grafting. Even in one of our natural fruits, human intervention defines consistency. The fruits and vegetables that fill our kitchens are living evidence of humanity's long partnership with plants. Through selective breeding and hybridization, people transformed wild, often inedible species into reliable food sources. Even today, plant breeding continues using modern genetics instead of simple observation, but guided by the same goal: to improve food for human needs. If you like this video, please consider subscribing, and feel free to comment any video ideas or topics that you want me to cover in the future. Anyways, I'll catch y'all later.